This new Geely EX5, an all-electric midsize SUV from China, is redefining the value proposition in its category by feeling more premium in more ways than you would think of. And because it's a new name entering an already crowded European market, it also needs to prove more worthy than its already established competition. But this is not the only obstacle it faces. Just in case you forgot, there was a time when made in China raised some eyebrows in the automotive world. Today, not anymore. The EX5 comes with 6 years vehicle warranty, 8 years on the battery, or 150,000 kilometers for both. It is rated with 5 Euro NCAP stars and has won the 2025 Red Dot Award, which is an internationally recognized distinction for high-quality design. Have you ever heard of Geely? Well, I did, but I never got the chance to experience what the cars feel like until today. First impression, you don't have to convince me anymore. Chinese or not, I'm genuinely impressed with this car. But that should be no surprise. Geely owns brands such as Volvo, Polestar, Lynk & Co, Zeekr and Proton. And the group as a whole ranks 8th globally as mid of 2025, surpassing giants like Honda and Ford. And today, they're stepping into Europe under their own name. A bold move that says, we're ready. But the question is, are you willing to give this Chinese brand any consideration? You see, by going with something like this EX5, I would expect you would be getting a very good deal. And that's because Chinese have not only proved to be capable by reaching parity with the more established brands in terms of quality and features, they've also shown willingness to go further than anyone else to win you over. Remember, they don't have the benefit of an established name and brand loyalty. Most are still unknown to us, and that's bothering them. So to make sure they grab our attention, they will be willing to throw more than anyone else on the table. And this EX5 is no exception. Yeah, and just to put it into perspective, I've spec'd a similar powered and battery-sized Skoda Elroq with things like a heads-up display, a heat pump, heated and ventilated leather seats, interior accent lighting, power tailgate, LED lighting all around the exterior, and a sunroof. And the price I've got? Almost 52,000 euro. Yeah, and I guess a similar story would be if you try to spec an ID4 or an Ioniq 5 or a Kia EV6. As soon as I picked it from the dealer, starting with the door sound, the nice damp feeling of the stock when I place the car in drive, to the Mercedes-like ride quality and cabin sound insulation, I could immediately sense this is not average. It's much better than that. How much better? Well, I'm looking forward to find out myself. So let's see if my first impression stays until the end of this review, shall we? To start with, Geely makes it dead easy for you to find the right trim level matching your needs. There's only one to choose from, the Max version. And that's such a relief. You never need to worry about any better spec EX5 driving down the road, nor having to explain to anybody else, you or your wife, where you spend your money. But this also comes with a downside. The battery of the EX5 is limited to just one size, 60.2 kWh, which is kinda small in this vehicle category. Total claim range of 430 km WLTP means more like 350 in real life. However, being LFP is not only cheaper, it also handles more day-to-day abuse than the lithium-ion ones. This one you can charge as often as you need to 100% without fear of damage. The onboard charger supports 100 kW DC fast charge and 11 kW AC. It also provides vehicle-to-load and even vehicle-to-vehicle up to 6 kW. Those are fantastic features even more expensive vehicles fail to offer. The motor also comes as one single option, front-wheel drive with a total power output of 218 horsepower and 320 Nm of torque. Do I think is enough? Of course I do. It propels the EX5 from 0 to 62 miles per hour in just 7.1 seconds, which is decent, but not exactly in the ballpark when talking about EVs. However, its smooth acceleration pairs so well with a comfortable suspension that you wouldn't even want it any way different. When it comes to exterior styling, if the EX5 were a person, it'd be that effortlessly elegant type. The one who walks into a room in a tailored suit, no flashy logos, just clean lines and quiet confidence. You know, like someone who vacations in the Alps but doesn't post about it. It gets LED lighting all around, chrome touches on the sides and aluminum roof rails. There is an active grille in the front and vertical light strips on each side of the bumper, while the back gets one continuous light strip, fog lights further down, plus a spoiler housing the third brake light indicator. The headlights are not matrix or adaptive, but do a very good job illuminating at night. There are 4 cameras all around the exterior, one on the inside, a radar unit and proximity sensors. Plus, alloy wheels come in 19 inches standard. The boot is not huge, but pretty generous, 410 liters. The partial shelf comes as optional, and I can already see that this plastic was added afterwards. It's like 3D printed. Anyway, floor. When you leave the floor, you have a huge amount of space here. Look at my hand. And you can also slide it down. There's additional space. As for features, 1, 2 hooks and 2 feather points, nothing much. And to the rear bench, you can fold it down, and if you lift the floor back to the initial position, you can see it's pretty flat. And this is where I see the same problem with the plastic. As I already mentioned, it catches scratches and marks pretty easy. It shows up. Okay, this is the trunk, you'll not see it that much. But anyway, after a couple of years, I don't know how it will look like. The interior of the EX5 is a bit of a mixed feeling. It looks premium on the one hand, with plenty of soft touch materials here on the upper part of the cabin, including the seats, which are of a soft leather material. But the mood changes a little bit when you go further down. You have this hard plastic, and that's nothing different to anybody else. But the thing is, from what I can notice, it's the kind of plastic that tends to catch marks and scratches a bit too easy. I don't know how it will fare through time, but I guess this is something you need to find out yourself. The other thing I'm not sure of are the stocks. I mean, they feel solid and nicely damped, but they just don't feel particularly premium or nice to look at, like these air vents, for example. And so is the steering wheel. And here is where they messed up things pretty bad. It's anything but round. Here is tapered, then kind of flat on the sides, flat on the top and on the bottom. And because the bottom end and the top end are of different size, it has no symmetry to it. So when you grab it for a couple of quick turns, you feel like having some odd, undefined shape in your hands. It doesn't feel like a steering wheel. Another thing I noticed the other day when I was driving the car in a straight line, as I went at 5 o'clock on the steering wheel to grab it for a quick turn, something felt different. And when I look right now, I notice that I need to do an extra twist on my wrist just to grab the wheel completely. And that's because this round part at the bottom is missing. Let's try it again. Yeah, I didn't poke my torso with my elbow like I do right now. I didn't feel that, but it also didn't feel right. It's like I had to put more effort into the steering wheel to make the turn. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you will eventually, get used to it. But considering this is the part you interact the most with when inside the car, I feel like they could have done a better job. Cabin equipment level, on the other hand, is top. And starting from the top, you have this massive panoramic sunroof extending all the way to the back, which you cannot open by physical switches as you would expect. Here on top you have touch-sensitive reading light, and then an emergency button and an SOS button, which is lit.
I hope helicopters will not come flying by. Anyway, to open it, you need to go inside the menu, car, then shortcuts, then there's a small icon, press it, sunshade on the left, sunroof on the right. It's pretty difficult to do that while driving, but you can try voice commands.
How can I help?
Open sunshade.
All right. What would you like to do next?
Open sunroof.
Okay, open sunroof.
It works. Sometimes.
This is what I am learning this function.
Yeah. Then, going further down, you have this 15.4 infotainment touchscreen, which is clear, very responsive, and runs proprietary software. And I will go to that later. Then the driver gets its own digital cockpit, and here you can cycle through different menus, so average consumption, current trip, and so on. And a heads-up display, which is crystal clear, provides plenty of information and is well illuminated. I like it. Then going further down, you have this raised speaker, which belongs to a Flyme sound system of 1000 watts and 16 speakers all around, including in the headrest. Sound quality is pretty good, not the best, but very decent. Then you have the steering wheel, which I already talked about. What I didn't mention is you have physical controls on either side. So on the right side you control your media, voice commands, and then you cycle through different menus in the digital cockpit. On the left side you have controls for the cruise and the 360 camera, which provides a transparent view, by the way. That's very nice. Then the most annoying thing in the world, sitting on the top of the steering column, is the driver drowsiness camera. On the left door card you have physical controls for window and mirrors, which is pretty rare today. Then you have these air vents, which are very nice and complement the overall premium feel of the cabin. Then on the central console you have this dial, which you control your media with. Then when you press it, you can change the home screen. Let's put on the cat. Next to it you have physical shortcuts for the climate control, which are very handy because to do it on the move and on the screen, pretty difficult. Although to be honest, you have more flexibility on the screen. Nevertheless, going further, you have these two cup holders, then wireless charge pad only for the driver, and a storage space, which is decent. Not very deep, but decent. And the cover is padded with soft touch material. And that doubles as a rest for your elbow. And by the way, I have to say the driving position is spot on. Very nice. Plenty of adjustments and very comfortable. And last but not least, you have this storage space between the passenger and the driver, which is pretty big, but it's open. And you have USB Type A, Type C, and 12-volt socket. Yeah, that's about it. And then you have the massage seats. And I gotta tell you, first I thought it was a gimmick, but really, it's nice, and especially in this price range. So you go on the vehicle, then shortcuts, you have comfort seats, again comfort seats, and then you have ventilation, you have massage, and this is a catwalk, and you feel it going up on your spine. You have wave and different things, crawling. I mean, really, you will enjoy it if you have this feature. Nice.
But while it purrs and spoils the front passengers with heated and ventilated massage seats, parents cannot help feel a bit guilty for their kids sitting in the second row and not benefiting of such things. However, it's actually not that bad. The raised space is very generous, with plenty of food and headroom. The floor is flat, and despite the battery being underneath it, it's not raised like in other EVs, and that means lots more comfort, which is also enhanced by the reclining backrest, which comes with an armrest. As for storage space, you will be impressed. There are door pockets, front seat pockets, a front drawer, and another one under the bench. There are air vents on the central console, plus USB ports. and it even comes with soft touch materials on the upper part of the door cards, which is again a rare thing in this vehicle class. Plus, the glass is tinted for more privacy. There are plenty of good things to mention about the EX5, but what is the reality of living with it on a day-to-day basis? To start with, as with many other cars today, even before leaving the house you can preheat or pre-cool the cabin from the app. Then, as you approach the car, it greets you like an old friend. The keyless function works every time, although you are still provided with a key fob, having physical controls for locking and unlocking the car, plus opening the boot. If your pre-saved profile is not already there, you can select it from the menu. This includes the mirrors, the seats and the climate controls. If not, you can easily adjust everything on the go, as you are provided with physical controls for everything. Next, as you drive along, you are greeted with a relentless flow of alarms and beeping, which can raise your stress levels pretty quick. And unless you are a fan of being yelled at, you can toggle off the annoying notifications from the main screen. However, because Geely doesn't provide you with shortcuts for that, it's easier said than done. Plus, those settings reset with every new ride, meaning you are buying your way into a world of constant pain by going through the same steps over and over again. However, once you go over that, you are met with incredible level of comfort. The cabin is so quiet, you'll even hear your own thoughts. The suspension is so plush, it feels expensive, like on air struts, and the acceleration is so smooth that the whole car feels like gliding. If you are someone looking for comfort, you will be impressed. This is in a whole different category.
But you'll also hear different expert opinion complaining about poor chassis tuning affecting this car dynamics when taking it through a series of fast bending roads. Look, I'm no expert, I'll take their word for it. But you have to think about it. Are you going to buy this car to take it to the races? Or you are a family man?
Anyway, until you figure that out, you need to get accustomed with the strange shape of the steering wheel and the car software, which is not bad but also needs improvements. I already mentioned the lack of shortcuts, but I could also add a cleaner, more user-friendly interface, better maps, Android Auto, and better functionality of the dial. Safety is solid. Among many other things, you get adaptive cruise control with stop and go, blind spot monitoring, plus cross traffic assist and intersection function with brake and steering intervention.
And I can say many more things about this EX5, but I really want to reach a conclusion. Am I still impressed like in the beginning? Of course I am. I mean, what sets this EX5 apart from the rest is the special attention it gives to its occupants in terms of space, storage options, cabin tech, and the incredible comfort. The other plus is the solid safety tech. I mean, don't get me wrong, Tesla Model Y is also a 5-star car, but it doesn't come with a driver display or a head-up unit, does it? Massage seats are really good, but for me, honestly, those are nice to have. I would have preferred instead a bigger battery. And this is its biggest weakness, the range. I mean, 400 kilometers for this car is too short in my opinion. The other things are the odd shape of the steering wheel, the quality of some of its plastics, and software, which of course can be improved. However, none of those are real deal breakers, except the battery. But even that might be very quickly wiped out by the significant price advantage this car has over its competitors. I mean, we're talking about 10,000 euros. Question is, are you willing to consider this time a Chinese brand?